I wanted to make a video for summertime and parties and just kind of vacation. So this is the holiday edition video log for 4th of July. So say you are going to a 4th of July party, or any party, but we'll just use that as an example. What I usually suggest is eating pretty light throughout the day, mostly protein and lean proteins and veggies and those kind of non-calorie dense foods, so that when you do go to a party, you can kind of enjoy yourself a little bit more. Now, if you're prepping, obviously I would still guesstimate or track, or even a better option, even if you aren't prepping, is always bring something to the party. So make it something that is pretty macro friendly that you can enjoy, just in case you don't know what options they're going to have there. And if you're friends with the people, if you're close enough friends with the people, clearly you're friends with them, but if you're close enough friends to the people who are having the party, ask, that's not rude, just be, oh, what are you guys having? I was trying to bring something kind of complimentary and I didn't want to make anything else. So then you kind of already know what the menu is going to look like, and then you can bring something that isn't already there, and then you can also bring something that is macro friendly for you personally. So that's what I found is really helpful for parties, or really just holidays in general. I do that kind of a similar idea with Thanksgiving and Christmas, and the holidays at that time, there's always a party, there's always something going on. So if you can really kind of restrict during the day and eat lighter than you normally maybe would, then you'll have a little bit more wiggle room at the end of the day to just kind of enjoy a meal and not really overthink it. Now, again, if you're prepping, I would be a little bit more stringent, but this is a video for everyone and not just people who are competitors. Now, if you're going on a longer trip, say you're going on a cruise where you're there obviously all day, every day, for however long, 4 or 7 days, the same rules kind of apply, but now you have to plan a little bit more on the front end, because you're not going to be at home, you're going to be on the cruise. So one of my clients, Jordan Wong, he just decided to go on a week-long cruise, and my family, we cruise a lot, so I've had a lot of really good experiences and a lot of really, bad, oh my god, how much weight have I gained kind of experiences. So what I found is a little system. It just takes a little bit more planning, but if this is important to you, then you'll take the time to do this. So whenever I'm traveling, whether it's a cruise or you're at a hotel for 5 days or something like that, I always try to get a little workout in. It doesn't have to be much, but even like 30 minutes of something, anywhere, even if it's a really shitty gym, is usually going to have, some kind of cardio equipment and either some kind of weights or, something. So try to do anything that you can, or even like body weight stuff, push-ups, squats, stuff like that, just to kind of get everything moving. And usually the first few meals of the day, I'll eat pretty light. So eggs, egg whites, fruit, big salads, lots of chicken, that kind of stuff. And then if I am on a cruise or somewhere where there is really good food, what I'll try to do is I'll pick all of the kind of voluminous, low-calorie foods, and then I'll pick something like, okay, what's something here that I wouldn't make at home or I don't have around a lot, and it's kind of like my little special thing that I want to eat with that meal, so that at that point you're not just grabbing everything and putting it on your plate and overindulging in every meal, because then that can turn into whatever, I've already had a lot of breakfast, I might as well just keep eating for the whole day. So really picking those 1 or 2 things that you don't have very often is, I think, a good thing that worked for me really well the last cruise I did. And that's when I didn't gain any weight. I was on a week-long cruise. I trained a lot every day, and I ate very, low during the day, had my eggs, my egg whites, my fruit, like I said, chicken, lots of salads, few things here and there. And then what I would do for dinner is, then at that point I would say, okay, I can have what I want at dinner. Not a free-for-all, but I was very relaxed, appetizers, few drinks, full, entree, always have dessert. I love dessert. So don't feel like you have to be super deprived on vacation, but you just have to make smart choices on the front end. And if you want to have a really big breakfast, then use that as your big meal. You don't have to just have a big dinner, but I know a lot of people usually will stick to bigger dinners because that's where there's more options. So that's kind of an idea for a vacation. And let's say you're traveling out of the country. Like, I know Lane just made a post about this. Him and Isabel were in a wedding in Puerto Rico, and he didn't really have an option on what foods he really could or couldn't have. So he just made a post about this on his Instagram, so I would go definitely check that out. But where he said, everything's fried over there. I've never been to Puerto Rico, but he said all the food is fried, and he was in the wedding party, so he didn't really have an option to not eat some of the things. So it's all about portions, it's all about moderation. Consistency is really number one. We always preach that very, very, very much. I hope that that message has gotten across. But if you consistently are eating around the same amount of calories, and with flexible dieting, you know relatively how much of what is in the food that you're eating, right? Even if you haven't prepared it. So it's all about just making smart choices and really being mindful. I think a lot of people kind of lose that presence they have with food, especially if you've been someone who's been eating off of a meal plan, and you're so used to, okay, I'm going to do this because that's what's on the plan, and then what happens when you're not on the plan anymore? You stop thinking for yourself, and then it's kind of that free-for-all mode where you don't really know what to eat. So that's why I like flexible dieting. We've already been over this. And it kind of teaches you how to eat out of your Tupperware and out of your house. So if you never plan to do anything ever, then I guess it's fine to eat off of a meal plan. But if you're going to be in situations like a vacation, or you're traveling to another country, or you're going to a 4th of July party, having a little planning is great, but also knowing, what's in the food and having an idea of how much you should or should not be eating is really, really important. And staying present, because the whole point of going on a vacation or going to a party is to be with friends and family, and of course food is a huge part of that, but it's not the entire thing. It's not a party just to binge eat. So just keep that in mind, especially with the summer, and I know a lot of people travel over the summer and go on, vacations and stuff, and especially with 4th of July this weekend. So everyone be safe and have fun and make some good choices. Bye.